What's up, everyone? It's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and in a move that we saw coming a million miles away and a million years away, the PlayStation Store has accidentally unveiled Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection. So, this is obviously, from what we know, it's Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. No Golden Abyss for you Vita players out there, but it's just Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 remastered for PS4. So, you know, this doesn't surprise us. We all expected it, especially with stuff like the Master Chief Collection, their big first party games. The Last of Us, again, a big first party game. God of War 3 is going to be remastered very soon, and again, first party game. So, it's not surprising, but of course, what is surprising is the time of the announcement. Now, something like this you would expect to be held for E3. However, Neil Druckmann, who is currently the creative director at Naughty Dog because they forced out Amy Hennig for him, but he actually put up a tweet that said, "Well, that hit a few hours too early. See you in the AM. Good night, y'all." So that implies that it's legit, but it also implies that it would be announced today. Now, Sony have a history of really weird marketing. What they do is they will use some of their own first party. They did this through the entire previous generation as well, but they will always, when a massive reveal of a game trailer or something, an announcement comes out, Sony always have one to go with it. Or when a huge, big first-party game comes out on a different console, or a different platform even, Sony always have the same thing. Just off the top of my head, for example, Gears of War 2 came out. Sony tried to go up against it with Resistance 2. Failed horribly because Resistance 2 was a shit game. They did the same thing with Killzone 2. I think they had one with Killzone 3. I think there was also another one with, what was it called? I think it was Resistance 3 as well, actually. They have a history of this kind of thing. And now with the Fallout 4 reveal yesterday, it does feel like that if this was supposed to get officially revealed today, that they were just trying to go against that. Now, I'm not bashing Sony fanboys in this thing. It's just they have a history of it. It's a proven pattern at this point. So it's just weird. It's like, don't forget about us kind of thing. There's plenty of other times they could have done this. Maybe is there a specific relevance to today's date? Possibly. I don't know. Maybe I can't even remember when the PS4 was released or the PS3 was released and Uncharted 1 was released, or one of the other Uncharted games. I don't remember. So, what is curious to, sorry, I'm just after waking up. So, what is curious about this Uncharted collection is who's going to handle the port. Now, the reason why I ask that is Naughty Dog is obviously too busy working on Uncharted 4, which will be out next year on the PS4. So, who's going to handle this anyway? It's been hinted before that Bluepoint Games will be in charge of the port, which I would say is a good thing. Bluepoint Games have excellent ports. So, I mean, just look at the Metal Gear Solid collection. They did the porting on that, and that was brilliant. So, it's nice anyway, but we'll find out later today because, as the tweet from Neil Druckmann said, expect to hear about this in the morning of today if you're in America. So it's based on Pacific time because that's where they are, which is 8 hours behind us here in Europe, or well, here in the GMT section of Europe, or BST section of Europe at the moment. So you're probably looking at about 6 p.m, maybe as early as 3 or 4 p.m, but you're probably looking around 6 p.m. when they get out of bed and get to work and all that shit. So we'll see how it goes anyway. Again, I was expecting an E3 announcement for this kind of thing, but with Sony's history and the fact that it slips out early, who knows? But I'm going to assume as well that it's going to be retextured, redone to the extent of The Last of Us, who knows? Because the games are significantly older, so they might be harder to work on. The textures might be lower quality from what they already had. The game engines, as far as I know, are specifically different, despite being made by the same studio. But who knows? We'll see how it goes anyway. One other thing that a couple of people were concerned about is the original size of the PS3 games. The fact that they mentioned in specific that Uncharted 1 was 20 gigabyte. Uncharted 2 was 20 gigabyte. And if I remember right, my friend has Uncharted 3 and he has all the DLC for that, and it's like 40, 50 gig. So that's going to come out over the size of one Blu-ray. And there's concern, or actually it's not even concern. What I've seen some Sony fanboys, now again, I don't say everyone's a fanboy, but the way they do this, and the stuff they say about it, is Sony fanboys are convinced that it will release on 2 Blu-rays instead of just a huge digital patch to download. So because the way Sony fanboys were on this is, they could just release it on 2 Blu-rays. Microsoft didn't. Microsoft would make you do the other. It's like, what? That makes no sense. Personally, in this kind of situation for games that would take up over 50 gigabyte, so let's, for example, we'll say Master Chief Collection, possibly Uncharted Collection, and I know the Elder Scrolls Online requires a big patch because that wouldn't all fit on the disc. Now, I know there's the whole thing in that case about the extra content that was added and all, but they have specifically said a big portion of it won't fit on the disc. So if a game like Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection was to launch at, say, 75 gigabyte, I could understand if it did come on 2 discs, but the second disc was literally only an install disc. I could understand that, because that way you'd still be using the 1 disc. So because that makes perfect sense. That way you don't have to get up and swap discs and all that shit. But so I could understand if it did launch on 2 discs, and it's like requires disc 2 installation to play Uncharted 3. And then even when that is installed, you would always launch the collection with disc 1, and you could play all 3 games through disc 1 as long as you have that second disc installed. So I could understand something like that going on. I just don't understand fanboys and their need to jump behind everything, and it's like, someone else did it differently. Sony can do a worse version better, and they're doing it right because we said so. It doesn't make sense. But that's just bashing the fanboys. Now, like I said, if it does release on two discs, that's fine. Even if it releases on 2 discs as, play them separately, it's not optimal, but that is technically fine. It's just when fanboys be fanboys over it, I just say, fuck you, I can't be bothered. So that's basically the entire thing anyway. I'm sure we'll hear more about it today, or possibly more about it for E3. It's most likely going to come out at some point this year, because Uncharted 4 is due out early next year, so it would drum up the hype. It's funny actually, because before Uncharted 4 was even announced, or even got a release date or got pushed back, myself and some of my friends, we were always saying, it's like, do you ever think we'll see a HD collection of this game or that game? And we used to say, yeah, I think we'll definitely see an Uncharted one in the run-up to whenever they announce Uncharted 4, because it will just drum up hype and get people back into it. And so I guess we were right. So let me know in the comment section below anyway what you think the Uncharted Nathan Drake trilogy will be like. Do you think it'll get the same boost in graphics that we've seen from, say, The Last of Us? Or I hear God of War Remastered isn't a good example, or God of War 3 Remastered at least anyway. I hear that's not a good example, but let's go with The Last of Us, because that's the same studio now. And like I said, I know Naughty Dog are probably not doing the port because they're working on Uncharted 4, but we'll see how it goes anyway, because the source is all from the same studio. So let me know in the comment section below anything you think about the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection. When we'll see it, the details, the spec, if it'll be 1080p 60 FPS, which I'd most likely say it would. But let me know all that in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You can follow me on Twitter, because I've got a new series that started up a few days ago. It's up and running at the moment. Details will be in the description below. Thank you for watching. and I will see you on the rest of the videos in my channel.